Hi everyone, welcome back to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for tuning in for the 4 o'clock News and Politics show. I'd like to thank Jennifer Lawless for, as usual, coming on Tuesday to give us the national politics take. We're going to get a lot more local now here with Jim Nyberg with LeadingAge Rhode Island. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me, Kate.
I appreciate you've been on a bit of a circuit here since the most recent report coming out from the Auditor General about a number of fiscal issues facing the state and how UHIP has been run. And of course, LeadingAge Rhode Island focusing on nursing homes in the state. Let's take a step back, have folks introduced to LeadingAge RI that might not be familiar, and then we'll talk about some of the characterizations and some of the information that you wanted to come in here and really set straight.
Okay, yeah, thank you again for having me. LeadingAge Rhode Island is a trade association that represents nonprofit nursing homes, assisted living, senior housing, adult day centers, and the PACE program. And so it's been a busy past few days after the House Oversight hearing last Thursday.
And so let's talk for folks who might not have seen what had happened or what occurred. What was in that meat of that report from the Auditor General when you saw it and what your reaction was?
Well, it's disappointing because the report laid out a whole range of issues associated with UHIP, the payments for dead people, all the operational failures, and so it was disappointing to see the main story that emerged involving nursing home payments because it's very complicated and there's more than one side to that story.
And you're here to share the other side to the story because, again, in that report, assertions of overpayments being made, but there's also nursing homes saying that they're owed payments of Medicaid payments. So is it not that simple of an issue of the way it was contextualized? And also, those nursing homes that might have seen some overpayment are addressing paying back what might be an overpayment, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's definitely complicated, and nursing homes, I should just begin by saying, it's a heavily regulated industry. They're used to having things come at them, whether it's state funding issues, surveys, you name it. So they're used to handling things, but the scope and duration of this UHIP situation has been unprecedented in my 10 years on this job, and so that's why I think this hearing and some of the coverage was really rubbing salt in the wounds.
Let's talk a little bit, let's get down to the experience of the nursing homes dealing with this UHIP system. We've seen individual lives impacted of folks, again, ACLU suing for food stamps. Again, the average Rhode Islander, how some issues and major troubles with the UHIP system has impacted them. Let's talk about how that UHIP system has impacted the nursing homes in your association.
Okay, basically when UHIP began in September of 2016, applications, Medicaid applications, people just vaporized. And so nursing homes had no way of billing or getting paid for the care that they were providing to these people that were already in their residence. And so the state began making interim payments to help keep these facilities operational, to help pay their staff, pay their vendors, pay for food. And so these payments are ongoing because of there are still delayed applications, billing problems, et cetera. So it's been critical for nursing homes to receive this funding in order to be able to care for our frail elderly residents.
And so let's talk a little bit, as you mentioned, again, these applications going away, getting these payments from the state. So I'm assuming then it sufficed for some homes, overpaid for some, or did not pay enough for some. And so how did the state address it in an efficient manner?
They addressed it as best they can. It's very complicated because, believe it or not, every nursing home resident is paid a different amount. But the crux of the problem is, say a nursing home received $200,000 in interim payments for 5 residents, and now those residents have been properly approved in UHIP and paid for through the normal electronic payment process. That nursing home might have 5 other residents that they're owed $400,000 for. So they're saying we're not in a position to be able to pay this money back, even though it's called a double payment, when they're still owed money here.
So again, is it just that case-by-case basis, and how difficult is it for nursing homes to be wading through this red tape with, being tasked with care of the elderly and those in need? But again, would you call this a bureaucratic nightmare?
For everyone involved, yes. For nursing homes, for the state, there's smart people at the state working on fixing it. It's just such a complicated situation that everybody's struggling.
Well, what else would you like folks to know, again, after that Auditor General report, after the House Oversight Committee? Again, some assertions made that nursing homes owe the state to the tune of $60 million. Is that number itself accurate?
That's the number the state gave, so I don't know, but I think it's probably safe to say it's pretty accurate.
And there are plans for those nursing homes that have had seen overpayments, as you said, to address it, but it might not be that easy.
Right. We've had dialogue with the state. Every nursing home, every single nursing home is in a different situation. Some may be able to pay back those payments, but that part of that $60.8 million. Others might need a year.
Okay.
And so the state is willing, or have indicated they're willing to come up with payment plans, but it's literally going to have to be done on a nursing home by nursing home basis because, again, it's so complicated and everyone is in a different situation.
Do you feel, again, as the head of the trade association, that nursing homes after this past hearing and in the report were kind of behind the 8 ball, sort of maligned, if you will, and perhaps are just a result of this casualties of this convoluted system that did not operate in a way that made sense? So do you think nursing homes took an unfair kind of PR hit, if you will?
I felt that way when I woke up Friday morning, and the industry certainly felt that way because, like I said, this has been going on for 2.5 years, and they've been struggling on a daily basis, whether it's the accounting side of things or keeping payroll going. And to see an article like that was, like I said, rubbing salt into a wound.
So dealing with UHIP is just one of the many things that nursing homes deal with here in the state and as a trade association. And as you mentioned, dealing with this financial issue on a case-by-case basis is the cost of doing business and running a business. But you wear that hat when you're up there at the State House. Here we are, it's April 2018. We know what's in the governor's budget looking ahead for FY20. What will you be lobbying for in addition to cleaning up this UHIP debacle, if you will, and the remainder of the General Assembly session?
Our big issue is, like I said at the beginning, 2/3 of people in nursing homes are paid for by the state via Medicaid. And so every year there's an annual cost of living adjustment for nursing homes that's been capped at 1%. But we're pushing for the full restoration of that inflation index because aside from UHIP, nursing homes are facing a tremendous workforce challenge as the minimum wage is increased. And so in order to be able to recruit and retain the CNAs, the nurses, they really need this full rate increase in order to support their operations and their staffing.
And what's currently in the governor's budget proposal?
1%?
The 1%, but again, you're articulating. So the administration views it as sort of a belt-tightening measure, but you say there's unintended consequences.
Right. It's just become more and more difficult for them to recruit workers over the years, and so this COLA is more and more critical, I think, this year than it has been in years past.
So one of the biggest challenges facing the industry is the recruitment of workers and the retention of workers.
It has been, yeah. Over the last 5 years, it's become increasingly difficult. Like I said, part of it is the minimum wage increasing, which then places an upward pressure on all staffing wages. Part of it might be the economy. Other people can get jobs elsewhere. But there's a certain nobleness, I think, or nobility to working in long-term care and working in nursing homes that we need to get the message out more that it is a career, it can be a calling, and there's certainly career ladders where if you start as a CNA, you can work your way up to be a nurse. And so there's a lot of other things we need to do in addition to the funding to try and address our workforce needs.
What are we looking at in terms of numbers in nursing homes as we see an aging population and a baby boom population aging in years as well? Are we seeing increased numbers in the homes? Or in need, if you will, because homes can only accommodate so many people. Right.
At the moment, there is not a need, as the state tries to do more in terms of keeping people in the community, and that's part of what our members do, keep people at home or attending adult day or independent living. But with the spike associated with the baby boomers, it's probably safe to say there will be a need for more nursing home beds and other long-term care services.
And I'm sure we'll probably have the opportunity to talk with you more about issues facing, again, the association. But wanted to have you in here as you wanted to, again, respond to some assertions made at the State House in the report and more. So Jim Nyberg with LeadingAge Rhode Island, thank you so much for taking the time to come here into the studio.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Certainly appreciate it. And don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with our last and final guest with a big week here in Rhode Island. We'll be right back.